Today, we're going to be breaking down some of my high school highlights at the quarterback position. We're going to be talking about some things I wish I would have done a little bit differently mechanically. We're going to be talking about some offensive play concepts that we were looking at, that we were working on certain plays. And then we're going to be pretty much breaking down the makings of a good quarterback highlight tape and some of the things that helped me stand out on film while being a little bit of an undersized guy who maybe didn't have, like the best throwing motion or the cleanest throwing motion, but some things that were able to get me some college attention that you guys could take home with you. Okay, so this video is done by request, so I appreciate you guys asking this, appreciate you wanting me to make this type of video, so I hope this gives you some value, okay? So this first player, what we're doing is we're motioning our running back out of the backfield. He's going to be running like a simple bubble screen, and then we just have like a simple four verts concept pretty much, right? So we have this against a single high free safety look. I have no idea why they decided to man coverage this wide receiver at the bottom of the screen here. This wide receiver went on to play Division I college level ball at like an FCS level, so like Division I AA, and he's 6'2", can dunk. I'm telling you this right now, this corner is not fast, not the greatest corner, and he decides to come down and play man coverage while this DB on the top of the screen is probably a little bit better, is giving our other wide receiver a little bit more cushion. So even from the opposite hash, I know pre-snap with a single high free safety look and press coverage, this is probably the matchup that I'm looking to ultimately throw. So snap the ball, I get the shot, I take a three-step drop, just rhythm three-step, and then put this thing out there and just give my guy a chance and give him a chance to be able to make a play downfield. So pretty much that was a predetermined throw. As I dropped back, I was trying to hold this safety with my eyes, try to get him to shift to the other side. It's very important, guys, that anytime we have a single high free safety look, that we're trying to hold him with my eyes. We're trying to make sure to keep him honest. And again, we have all this field to work with, and that's ultimately what I wanted to do. Now, this was the first play on my highlight tape, just simply because I felt it showed a lot of arm strength, right? So I was throwing this ball from the 40-yard line off of just a regular three-step drop. And this is like a 5, 10, 15, 20, like probably a 40-yard throw, like in the air, probably like a 45-yard throw in the air from the opposite hash. So that's a long throw off of just like a simple rhythm three-step drop. So anytime if you're like a high school quarterback or even like a youth quarterback who wants to play college football, your highlight tape has to stand out, right? And some of the things that stand out to college coaches are the ability for you to drive the ball downfield, make college level throws. So a fade ball from the opposite hash, I thought, was a good example of that. Now, something that every college coach that I talked to, at least after, this is from my senior year as well, at least after my senior year, talked a lot about how they liked that I was able to throw while taking hits. And that's something, if you're undersized like how I was, that you want to try to really include in your highlight tape. Because like you see this on this throw and then the next throw that we're going to get into here, like I'm taking a pop as I'm throwing this. So this is rhythm three from the opposite hash, 45 yards in the air while I'm getting hit. So that's definitely something that can be appealing to a college coach, especially, again, if you're on the undersized part of things, right? So that's why I wanted to include that as my first part of this highlight tape. Now, this next example is another example of me getting hit. So what this play concept is, this kind of like a, almost like a Mills concept in a sense, where we have like a dig route from my number one wide receiver at the bottom of the screen here. We have a deep post route from my number one wide receiver. We have a drag route as well right here. So we actually end up getting like a cover zero look where we have man coverage across the board, no deep safeties over the top. Honestly, I probably should have checked out of this play because I had the freedom to do so into something quick, like maybe, like a quick fade from the outside, or maybe like a quick post route, or maybe a quick out route down here at the bottom of the screen, something quicker than what we were doing. But what we end up doing is we do this like play action, and then there's somebody unblocked, and I actually end up taking a pretty good hit on this throw. Again, this is why I included this on my highlight tape, because you want to showcase, if you're undersized, that you guys can throw while taking shots. Now, mechanically, I'm sure you guys probably noticed, like the way I throw the ball back in my high school career is probably polar opposite of the way I would teach a quarterback to throw the ball today. Now, one of the things that you got to understand as a younger quarterback is that, there's a difference between, like it's, again, I tie it back into being a coachable athlete, right? If you're a very coachable athlete and you have a coach that's maybe not teaching you the right things as an athlete because you're coachable, you buy into what that coach is saying, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, and it's just simply because you're a coachable player. And being a coachable player is a great thing, but I was almost coachable to a fault. I had a quarterback coach that put no emphasis on mechanics. It was all about footwork, but it was all about like your base. And he would teach, you want your base to be as wide as possible so your front foot could get down, because he would teach us your feet were closer together. And again, no knowledge of hip and shoulder separation, no knowledge of hip rotation, how biomechanics work. But my coach would teach me to be as wide as you can, because the wider you are, the longer your front foot has to go. But the problem is that when your front foot steps quick and your feet are freaking way outside your shoulders, like you're throwing off of a skateboard or a surfboard, your legs lock out like so, and you're using all arm. So a lot of my throws were all arm. And I think, looking at myself now from a coach's lens, like if I was coaching myself up, what I would tell myself in the pocket is like, all right, you got too much weight onto your front side. You need to close your feet down to where your feet are underneath your shoulders. You need to have your weight loaded onto your back leg. Focus on taking a short step, not just having a wide base so you take a short step, but engaging more of your hips and more of your lower half, because that'll take pressure off of your arm and you'll be more efficient. But again, guys, if you're not taught these things, and this is the motivation for us making this entire channel and this posting the quarterback videos that we do, is to give you guys information that I wish I had when I was a player. And I trust that the information that I'm giving out is correct information, because we use professional examples all the time to back it up, right? I didn't have that. I had a coach teaching me the wrong things, and I would buy into the wrong things. That's just part of the way it goes sometimes, and the game consistently evolves. And as coaches, they can't be stuck in their old ways, because the game was still being taught like this. Like, this was not an uncommon thing to be taught. Really wide base, throw with just like your front elbow swinging down. A lot of quarterback coaches taught this back then, and that's not that long ago. But the game consistently evolves, and as quarterback coaches, as coaches in general, you have to evolve with it. So those are some things generally that I would change about my throwing form, and again, that's, my throwing form is a lot better than what it was younger career, because a lot of people, you have a very long release. I used to play baseball, all this stuff. So this was good throwing form compared to what I've been doing earlier on in my career. So just make sure that you guys understand that, right? So now this next play is going to be just, I guess you could say, a highlight of athleticism. I obviously wanted to include this in my highlight tape to show that I could run a little bit. I would consider myself, back when I played in high school, more of a dual threat. And especially if you're a shorter quarterback watching this, you guys have to understand that you need to bring more to the table than just being a pure passer. Because if you're undersized, all the best undersized quarterbacks, with maybe the exception of Drew Brees, could move and they could extend the play with their legs. Now, before I show this play, fellas, if you are a quarterback or wide receiver and you guys would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, we're going to be traveling out to 15 different locations this year for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. So guys, check out that very first link in the description below if you guys would like some more information on that. We're going to be coming out to San Francisco, Orlando, Florida, Phoenix, Charlotte, Austin, Chicago, Seattle, Las Vegas, Newark, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Boston, Columbus, Boise, and Los Angeles. So again, guys, if you want some more information, if you're local to one of these cities, we'd love to have you out to one of our 2-day-long training camps. So again, guys, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you there. Let's get back to this video. Okay, so this play, I'll be honest with you guys, because I do remember this play. I remember this was the this is the third game of my senior year, I want to say. And I remember our first game, we played like the number 7 ranked team in the state. I performed very, very well in the first half. I want to say I went like 9 for 10 with like 200 yards passing, a rushing touchdown. And then the second half, I proceeded to throw 5 interceptions. So not exactly the greatest start, right? Second game, we played a team that wasn't the greatest. All the starters were out at halftime. And then this is the third game where I really had a very, very good game, like good numbers. Like I want to say it was probably around like 300 yards passing and maybe close to 100 yards rushing. So it was kind of like my quote unquote like coming out party, I guess you could say, for my senior year. But I remember this play specifically because I remember on this play, I could not see a thing. So I took off and ran because I couldn't see anything. But I actually had this wide receiver open. This was a 4 verts concept. Again, I don't know why we ran so much 4 verts, but he was going vertical. He was running a seam. He was running a bender because it's 2 high safeties, because it's like a cover 4 defense. Anytime that you have 4 verts, like let's say this guy's was rolled down and it was single high free, the 2 slots would run seams and the outside receivers would go vertical, right? But since it's too high, this guy's going to run a bender cutting in front of him, and that is who I was trying to hit. So as you can see, I catch snap, do a little play action. My eyes are starting left. I know I got this. That's wide open pretty much, but right here, I could not see a thing. I remember this play. So what I did was I pulled the ball down, and I just ran. It was one of those things that, again, this is the third play on my highlight tape because, I kind of took the ball pretty much untouched for the most part. I would say like This is probably like a 35-yard rushing TD, but like 40 yards just untouched with not a ton of blocking, just generally blocks at the end. But that was a good play to showcase my athleticism. And that was one of the things that you have to have as a shorter quarterback, I feel, to be able to stand out, especially nowadays. So that's kind of the motivation behind that play. So this play right here, this is another play to showcase arm strength, making college level type throws. This is from the opposite hash. I get a little bit of pocket movement. I move to the right and then throw a fade ball to the bottom of the screen. I know that's a lot of these are deeper throws downfield, but again, I remember something that I really wanted to showcase with my highlights was just the ability to make, like I said, college level throws. College level coaches are going to want to see you throw footballs from the opposite hash. They don't want to see you just throw the ball to the boundary. They don't want to see you just throw the ball from the middle of the field. They want to see if you could drive the ball downfield from the opposite hash, and that's ultimately what we'd want to see. Now, this is probably one of my favorite plays. It's probably my favorite play of the year, I would say. And I got very, very lucky on this play. But it was this was against our league rivals. This was for like league title. And whoever wins this game generally would win league because these are the two best teams. This wasn't like the last game of the year, but this is one of the last games of the year. All we'd have to do after this is win out versus a couple teams that were not the greatest. They were like homecoming type games where you schedule them because you know you're going to beat them, right? So this is a good play. It was kind of a broken down play, again, showcasing that you could extend the play as a shorter quarterback with dropping back, pressure the outside, grab, spun, throw on the run, and then just give my guy a chance with the ball to the end zone. Again, I got very, very lucky because if I throw this ball like maybe just a fraction a little bit more inside, that ball is probably picked off. But again, I had very, very good outside wide receivers, and to make them look good, to make myself look good, you just have to give them a chance. That's something I could recommend to a lot of quarterbacks is like, if you have talented receivers, you just got to put the ball in the vicinity of them. To make yourself look good, just give them a chance, whether it's a fade ball, whether it's a broken down play. Like, they're great athletes and we trust our athletes over their athletes. That's generally how it should always be. And if you could put the ball in their vicinity and give them a chance, that makes you look very, very good. That obviously makes them look very good, and they're happy that they're getting the ball. But anyways, guys, hope this was able to give you some value. Hope you got some type of benefit out of seeing this. This is something that a lot of people have requested me to do. So like I said, I hope this was able to help in some way, give you guys some value in some way. But guys, appreciate the support, and thanks for watching.